don't it? Behind your Broadway show, I heard a boy say, please don't hurt me. You've carried on so long, you couldn't stop if you tried it. You built your wall so high that no one could climb it. But I'm gonna try. Would you let me see beneath your beautiful? Would you let me see beneath your perfect? Take it off now, boy. Take it off now, boy. I wanna see inside. Would you let me see beneath your beautiful tonight? I'm gonna climb up your ivory tower. I'll hold your hand and then we'll jump right out. That's okay. I'll be right here. I just wanna know. See beneath your beautiful, would you let me see beneath your perfect? Take it off now, girl. Take it off now, girl. 'Cause I wanna see inside. Would you let me see beneath your beautiful tonight? Tonight. See beneath your beautiful. Tonight. We ain't perfect, no. Would you let me see beneath your beautiful tonight? Her eyes make the stars look like they're not shining. Her hair falls perfectly without her trying. She's so beautiful, and I tell her every day. Yeah, I know, when I compliment her, she won't believe me. And it's so sad to think that she don't see what I see. But every time she asks me, do I look okay? I say, when I see your face, there's not a thing that I would change. 'Cause you're amazing, just the way you are. And when you smile, the whole world stops and stares for a while. 'Cause girl, you're amazing, just the way you are. Yeah. Her lips, I could kiss them all day if she'd let me. Her laugh, she hates but I think it's so sexy. She's so beautiful, and I tell her every day. Oh, you know, I never ask you to change. If perfect's what you're searching for, then just stay the same. So don't even bother asking if you look okay. You know I'll say, when I see your face, you smile, the whole world stops and stares for a while. 'Cause girl, you're amazing, just the way you are, the way you are. Okay. If everyone can hear me, we're going to start with the programming. So please find a seat. There's lots of open ones here at the front. Don't be shy. We're going to get started in the next couple minutes. If everyone can take their seat. Great. Give everyone like 30 more seconds to file in. Don't worry, there'll be lots of time to network at the end. And there's also an after party. We will reveal the location at the end. So make sure you're sticking around for that. You can network at the end. Find a spot. I promise there'll be lots of time to catch up and meet someone new. Few spots open over here too in the front row. No one ever wants to take the seats in the very front. Those are the best ones. Okay. All right, well, first of all, welcome everyone to our Together event here at Rotman, closing out 2024, if you can believe that. That's crazy. You also may have noticed that TechTO has some exciting new branding that we are showing off today for the first time at an event. Please let us know what you think. I know we've shared a ton on social, but we're very excited about it, and it's our 10 years. So what a great way to kind of roll out a new look for TechTO and for the community. So please let us know what you think, because we love feedback. I'm Alex Riley. I am all things marketing and community for TechTO. You might have seen me kind of running around at the beginning, asking some Q&A questions about, why you're here tonight, what you want to get out of the event, how you found out about it, your goals. There will also be an opportunity if you want to stand up and share that a little bit later in the community open mic. So it's kind of your 10 seconds that you get to share why you're here. And if you're looking for a job, you can shout that out. If you're looking to hire people, you can shout that out. If you're looking just to have some food and a good time, you can shout that out also, whatever you want. So a couple things to call out here. If you have never been to a TechTO before, we encourage you to share your photos and stuff on social with #TechTO. It's a really great opportunity for us to find you and also other people who attended tonight to find you later and stay connected. And we always enjoy resharing all your content and seeing your perspective from the evening. So #TechTO and tag us across social if you're posting anything. First off, before we start, a huge thank you to our partners here at Rotman. They've been instrumental in allowing us to bring events like these to life, and they offer this beautiful space. So I don't think anyone from the Rotman team is here, but if we could just give a round of applause for just Rotman and the team, if anyone's listening, we're very grateful, very appreciative, and you are helping make the ecosystem better. Before we start again, we do have a community announcement from Center for Aging and Brain Health Innovation. I believe Jonathan is here. Hello, come up. All right, you have a minute.
Great. All right, start the clock. Hi, everyone. My name is John Suckling. I'm from an organization called the Center for Aging and Brain Health Innovation. We're based out of Baycrest Hospital. Some of you might be familiar. We are the largest investor into aging and brain health technology in the country, probably the world. And we are here to meet with all of you and talk about solutions in aging and why we need those solutions now. We all know the demographic is shifting. We all know that there's a lot of challenges in that space. And so we need your talent and we need your ideas. And we need them by December 2nd because we have an open call for applications. We're offering up to $150,000 non-dilutive funding. We're looking for teams to come together, different sectors, different disciplines. If you're interested, if you have an idea or anyone that you know of that might be a good fit for the opportunity, please come talk to me. You can check out our website at cabhi.com. That's CABHI.com. It's a lot shorter than the Center for Aging and Brain Health Innovation. Thank you very much, and thanks for having me.
You're very welcome. I thought it would be better for me to read out the full name just in case I didn't want to get in trouble. Okay, so before we jump into community open mic, I have a few questions I want to ask the audience now. So raise your hand if you have never been to a TechTO before. I love that we see so many hands. This is amazing. How many people here have heard about it from a friend? I love that too. We love when friends recommend it to other friends. How many people saw it on social or in the newsletter? This is helping me as a marketer gauge. Okay, great. And another question, we also like to see, where all of you are coming from. So who is new to Canada recently? How recent are you new? 2 weeks. And where are you coming from? Switzerland. Wow. Okay, welcome. And why are you at TechTO tonight? To just meet people?
To find new connections, to engage in the community. We're a startup in Switzerland that had seen a lot of success in Europe, and now we're crossing the ocean, exploring our opportunities here. We're not looking for funding. I'm really just here to meet people and connect.
Awesome. Well, this is a great place to do it. So, and welcome again. Thank you. I don't know if I saw any other hands. Was anyone else here new to Canada? Also, how new? Like, how long have you been here? 20 days. Okay, so I think he has you beat by 2 weeks, but still. And what are you hoping to get out of the event tonight?
Yeah, just came to meet people, to network. We are a startup as well in Pakistan, and we're gonna release the first version in December. So before that, we are working with a couple of startups as well as engineering augmentation teams. So yeah, just here to explore things. It's great.
Awesome. Well, welcome also. And again, good place to meet new people. So we kind of kicked it off a little bit. You kind of got a taste of what community open mic is. So I'm going to ask you to raise your hand. I'll run the mic to you. No hoverboard. I will run as fast as I can. And you'll just share. I see two hands from one person at the back. You're very excited and I love it. I'm going to come to you first. You have 10 seconds to share why you're here, if there's anything you want to call out, what you're looking for, and how people can find you. So I will run to you first, sir, because I love the excitement. Oh, I didn't even have to run. Okay, there's a mic right there. Thank you.
Can I go to the front?
Just stand up there.
I want to go to the front.
We have to keep it moving quickly, so we're gonna ask people to just do it in their seats.
I'll just do it 1 minute.
Just your 10 seconds. Your 10 seconds is going. I'm counting. Go
Hi
for it.
guys, my name is Aaron Navratnam. I'm an immigrant from a nation called Sri Lanka. I came here 30 years ago and I'm still an immigrant. Okay. But anyway, I created a board of trade for startups and scale ups. It's the world's first. I made an announcement here, but due to lack of funds and support from the government, Justin Trudeau is spending all of our money somewhere else. So I don't have money. I'm just poor. I tried to launch a website on my own, but I stopped building websites years and years ago. So I'm looking for someone who wants to volunteer with us and help us build the website and bring it live. And that way, that's the only thing that's stopping it from going alive, because we got team from Israel and everything, right? We got so many people involved, but we just need a website. So I'm looking for volunteers. Thank you very much.
I talked to a few people who are looking for volunteer opportunities. So please come and find the gentleman at the back because he has some opportunities for you. Okay, anyone in my near vicinity? Okay, I will come to you.
Hi, everyone. My name is Pri. I'm with a company called Yanis Collective. So if you guys, anybody here looking for a last minute celebration ideas with your team for the holidays or gifting for your teams and clients, come find me. That's what we specialize in. So hope to talk to you soon. Liana's Collective.
Good time of year for that kind of stuff too. So just saying, everyone, just right there at the back, if you don't mind. Thanks.
Hi, my name is Carly, and I'm here with an organization called Palette Skills. So raise your hand if you're also here with Palette Skills. Yay. Okay. We're a national not-for-profit. We're funded by the government of Canada, and we run upskilling programs that connect innovative companies with really amazing talent. So I'm here with a bunch of folks from our tech sales program. So we have lots of really amazing experienced tech sales talent here. So yeah, if you meet anyone from Palette Skills, you can ask them what we're all about.
I love that you stood up and said something, because I was going to shout out that the team is here from Palette Skills, which is awesome. We love when people want to come out with their teams. It's just a great night out, whatever your needs are. I think that's awesome. So welcome, guys.
Hi, my name is Peter O'Donnell. I work for HUT 8 High Performance Computing. I'm a tech sales guy, so if anyone is looking for GPUs, shameless plug, you can find me on LinkedIn. So Peter O'Donnell at HUT 8. Thanks.
And you'll use hashtag TechTO if you post anything. Yes, perfect. Okay, I see a few hands over here. Okay. Anyone from, yes.
Hi, my name is Anastasia. I moved to Canada 2 years ago, and I graduated from university this year with a degree in applied math. So recently I completed internship as a ML engineer. So now I'm looking for new opportunities and a new job. Thank you.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. I'm Miles Harrison. I'm a data scientist and independent consultant. I also organize a networking group called Data Drinks, which you can check out at datadrinks.ca. So if you want to come and meet other people in the AI and machine learning space and have a drink after work, come on and check it out. The tickets are very expensive. They cost $0. So check it out at datadrinks.ca.
Out of our price range, sadly, but thank you for that.
Hi, I'm Elsie. I am seeking employment in data analytics. I'm really good at SQL, and I'm good at data. Waterloo engineering grad. I'm awesome. Thank you. Elsie Iskander. You can find me on LinkedIn.
I think all resumes should be like that. Just the 3 most important points. Just keep it simple. I think recruiters would love that. That was great.
Hi, my name is Ibrahim. I'm a 3rd year in computer science, and I'm looking to gain experience through an internship or co-op through software engineering. So if anybody is looking to hire, please let me know. Thank you.
Can they find you on LinkedIn?
They absolutely can.
Perfect. Okay. We'll do a few more here. Okay.
Hi, I'm Forrest Lee. So I'm a student here at Rotman, and I'm currently developing a product of my own to start as a startup. I'm also, I guess I seek employment for any possible opportunities. I'm a 1st-year student, so I've done databasing in the past. So if there's anyone that's interested, you can find me on LinkedIn for Forrest Lee.
Thank you. Okay, a couple back here. You first and then you.
Hi, thank you. My name is Niranjan. I'm one of the product leads at Real Matters. So we are developing a mortgage valuation and risk management platform on cloud and bringing in some AI into it. In my free time, I do a lot of pro bono CV reviews and mock interviews, specifically into product management field. And for product managers, you can find me on LinkedIn. My name is Niranjan Rode. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Ankit. I ran grocery growth marketing for Uber for the past 3 years, and I'm looking for my new role. Hit me on LinkedIn, Ankit Srivastava.
And we were talking, you might be at the retail event we have tomorrow as well. So if anybody else is coming, make sure you guys connect there too. Okay, I will do a few more. Oh, just caught me in time.
Hi, my name is Arash. So we are an AI-powered burnout prevention platform based in Toronto. So any of you dealing with stress, work-life balance, I'm here. we are looking for pilot clients. We are looking for smart people joining our team with the same vision, advocacy for mental health. So yeah, thank you.
Did you say smart people? Yes. Well, you've got a room full of very smart people, so that's great. Okay, 2 over here, and then might be our last few. Is it you? And then
Hi, I'm Michael. How many people are having problems that surprise them in production? Hands up. How many people here are shitting me? Because more than one person is having those problems in production. You're probably having those problems because you're being fooled by the testing that you're doing. And if you are having problems in production and they're surprising you, maybe I can help you figure out how to be aware of those things before they reach production. There you go.
how can they find you?
Oh, you can find me on LinkedIn. Oh, yes, my name is Michael Bolton. And you can find me by looking for the hat that I'm wearing right now. You can find me on LinkedIn. But just make sure if you're looking on the web for me to put testing, otherwise you get that singer guy.
It always intrigues me when I see your name registered on the attendance. I'm like, wow, interesting. Maybe he's coming this time.
Oh, thank you. Hi, everyone. I'm Brian Moran. I am a Palette graduate. Hi, Carly. I have strong communication skills and writing. I've been doing content for a number of years, and I'm looking to pivot to B2B tech sales, use what I learned in Palette. So feel free to reach out to me, and I'm great at relationships too. It's Brian Moran, Moran, on LinkedIn. Thank you.
Awesome. And then this will be our last one.
Hi, everyone. I'm Theresa, founder of Hampers by Coco. If you're looking for thoughtful gifts, luxury gifts, premium gifts, Hampers by Coco is your solution. Find me on LinkedIn, Theresa Osuba, or Hampers by Coco, or I'm here to discuss after this. Thank you. Hampers by Coco. Remember that.
Another good time for that kind of product, right? Okay, round of applause for everyone who shared. I know it's really scary standing up in front of everybody, but you all did great. So lots to think about for those who stood up, and if anybody's curious about what anyone said, yeah, make sure you stick around at the end and go and talk to them and make that connection. So before we get into our content now, I would like to introduce my co-host for the evening. And Jason usually does this whole long thing when he introduces him, but I'll just get all of you to just give a really loud round of applause for Alex Norman.
Thanks. Now we get to the exciting part where we actually learn some stuff. So our first speaker tonight is Jason. He's a graduate from Western. He worked for a couple startups. He got inspired to start his own called Tofu, which is a marketplace where you share talent. It has 300 customers already. I think, what are you, like less than 2 years in? And 300 customers. So I think you have some knowledge to share with us. Coming up here and share some.
Hello. Hey, everybody. I'm Jason. I'm from Montreal. I live in Toronto. I went to Western. And as Alex said, I worked in startups. And I recently started a company called Tofu around 2 years ago with one of my brother's best friends, who's now my co-founder. Tofu is an AI HR tech company. What it says over there, help companies hire the best candidate from their funnel or ours. But what that really means is we have an AI resume review product that helps companies screen thousands of applicants in minutes. We take the best candidates from the interview process that didn't get an offer, and we funnel them into a central network for other companies to then hire them. So you can see it's like full circle thing. It's been less than 2 years. We have grown to around 340 customers and companies on the platform. So obviously you learn a little bit when starting a company, and we learned a few things as well. And so I'm going to share how we were able to get to this point. Hopefully it can help some of you who are thinking of raising money or trying to get traction. 3 things specifically I want to talk about: building advocates early on, hacking your way to traction, and then using unrealistic timelines and deadlines to hit your goals. So let's talk about number one. The best way to build advocates, start a newsletter and write about what you're building. This is an email that I would send out every single week to my friends, family, but also some pretty big investors. I had the founder of Morning Brew on here, Papa.com, Casper, the mattress company. And the reason I did it is because, well, one, it helps you create accountability. So if you're putting out there every single week what you're going to be doing, you have no choice but to at least try to execute on it. And at least you can learn from it and understand what it is you did right or wrong. Second, what that's going to help you do is build credibility with the people on that list that you want to eventually raise money from. When you're raising money, it's very hard to go to somebody and try to explain your whole story within a few minutes. It's also inorganic. Instead, that email spanned over a few months. And then as we would share updates, everyone knew that we were going to raise money. And so the ask became really natural. Lastly, it will help you make those connections. So people will see that you're doing what you say you're going to do. You're able to execute. It'll help them build conviction in you. And naturally, they'll just be willing to make introductions. We raised our round of funding because the founder of Casper introduced us to someone at Union Square Ventures, who then made an introduction that ended up funding us. And so that's, partly how we got here. The second thing that we did is we tried to figure out a way to hack go-to-market. The thing that we did specifically for our company is we used VC talent partners at the venture funds. VCs are very overlooked as a customer because they're really bad customers. But it's great because no one goes after them. And so we positioned our product to appeal to the VCs that would then push our product to the companies, which would help us get into the companies naturally. And we were able to acquire 160 companies in 12 months with just 2 people and 0 marketing dollars. So what that means for you or anyone else out here who's starting a company, think about who your buyer is and all the external stakeholders that they would be meeting with. Who are they most connected to in order of degree of connection? And then figure out how you can position your product to solve a problem for them that incentivizes them to push them to their community. The last thing is just compress your timelines. Set unrealistic, audacious goals. When we first started Tofu, I made it a priority to at least try to get to revenue in 8 weeks. We ended up doing that. The customer returned because it was a really bad customer. But it helped really drive 2 things. One, you can do a lot in a much shorter time frame than you think. You don't need so much time to get that validation. And second, if you're putting those priorities out there, which we were doing in that newsletter, you're kind of forced to work backwards from that and to figure out what you should be prioritizing, what you should be working on, what you shouldn't be working on, so that you can actually work on the most effective thing. And that should help you build some momentum quickly. So 3 takeaways: build advocates, hack GTM, set unrealistic timelines to push yourself to get there. And I think you should do just fine. Thanks. And you can scan the QR code. It might be blocked by the sign, but you can scan the QR code or connect with me on LinkedIn. My name's Jason Zoltak. Thanks.
Questions? While we wait for people to put their hands up, I'll ask the first one.
Okay.
How have things changed going from up to 340 customers?
Hey, so I'm very interested about the first part. How do you craft this list of persons it's interest? Because when I thought about it, I'm kind of not sure who I put in, especially who would want to know about my shares, instead my clients, of course.
So who would you put on that newsletter?
Exactly.
So I added my friends, added my family members, and I've worked in tech, so I also added some people that I've worked with. And then naturally, I'm also doing outreach at this point too, trying to get in touch with other people. So the people that I built good relationships with or felt I had a connection with off the bat, I'd ask them if I could add them to the thing. and then it kind of just snowballs from there. Yeah.
Thank you.
But I would also just like maybe reach out to people that you're trying to get introduced to, or you're trying to connect with, have a conversation with them after every call. If you like them, even ask if you can add them to the newsletter. And yeah. I can answer it now.
You want to answer the question I asked then?
Yeah.
How should things change when you get to 340 customers?
So it's a scale problem. We're 4 people now, and we're trying to handle this volume. So it's a lot. We've since slightly like shifted the product. We've actually like been able to automate a lot of the marketplace functions. So we're focusing more on the AI resume review product. So the marketplace is self-serve. There's about like 20 customers now, 20% on AI resume review, which gets a lot of attention. And then the marketplace, which is more self-serving, and that's how we've been able to like make that shift.
Very cool. Any more questions?
Yep, I have one. So really curious to learn more about the AI resume scanner. Can you maybe tell a little bit about how you make sure that it's not biased against women, people of color, or other minorities?
Are you building one?
No, but I've done some research in this area.
Okay. So we do a few things. We actually build our own machine learning and data science models, which are solely based on attributes that have nothing to do with where you live, a name, zip code, things like that. And so it's purely based on like experience and other attributes. And so that's really how we kind of prevent that bias. We make sure that certain points in the resume or things about a person are not being taken into account, in short.
Okay, can we get a round of applause?
I think there was one more.
We're not on top of it. I got remote control back. I like that. That was very succinct and very insightful. Now we're going to go to Tim. Tim actually has an interesting background. He was part of the YC class of 2014 with a company called G Batteries, which was a battery company, did VC funding, and has now chosen a different completely route, also dealing with recruitment and employees. Can you come share some knowledge?
Thanks, Alex. Hey, everyone. Yeah, so I'm here to talk a little bit about my journey and things that I learned during that time. So, most startup stories that you hear, some are about failure, some are about success. You don't really hear about, the stuff that happens in the middle. And the thing is that, I've talked to a lot of founders now, and a lot of companies end up kind of being in that area. But it's sort of, it's not really glamorous to talk about. And like Alex mentioned, it didn't start off that way. I started a company in my parents' basement in 2014. We went through YC, we raised a bunch of money. We were working with automotive manufacturers and battery manufacturers and doing all this, cool stuff. But I left at the beginning of the year, this year, and that company still exists, it's still running. But I chose a different path, and it was really hard. It's a 10-year journey. It's like your baby. And the kind of reason I'm here and talking about this is I ended up making a really long post. It was kind of like self-therapy, but I posted it inside of like a internal forum for Y Combinator, and it ended up getting a lot of attention, a lot of upvotes. I was really surprised. And it turns out a lot of people had this experience, and so I'm hopeful that the 1 or 2 people maybe in this group who are going through a similar thing can sort of know that you're not alone. So in startup world we hear really a contradictory thing. It's either all about persistence, don't give up, keep going. You might strike gold 3 feet away, you never know. And then the other side is fail fast. We've all read the stories of founders raising 10 mil and then a year later shutting down the company, right? And so which method, which path is the right one? So, in my experience, it's really, some companies, of course, go that way or the other. But my experience has been totally different. So, things in the beginning are great. You're like, wow, this is amazing. And then, you start going through the journey of the roller coaster. Things go up, things go down. And for me, in my experience, things were like that for a really long time. Like it's sort of see on this graph, like, I don't know, 7 years, 6 years, it's a long time. And, you kind of go through that and you hope that, things turn around. But, I decided to leave. And so the things that I learned, and if there's going to be one takeaway from this that you will remember, there's 3 things I'm going to talk about just super quickly. But the most important is around persistence. Founders, people that start companies, usually, you guys are the type of people who don't quit, who think when everybody tells you no, you say, fuck you, and so the important thing that I found reflecting on my journey is that if you're really excited about something and you're having a hard time, but you're excited in your gut, you kind of feel that, you should probably keep going. But on the other hand, if you think about it and you're like, why am I doing this? I don't really know. The last, X period of time has not been great, and that keeps going, then it's probably time to think about, what are you doing? Is this worth it? So persistence is good if there's sort of a timeline or some sort of methodology around it. The other thing is, this should probably say like default alive. You guys are, some people have probably read Paul Graham's essay on this, but my business, it was all about battery technology. So we had to raise money. You can't really bootstrap a business like that. You had to build, a lot of physical hardware. And so, we didn't really have the luxury of being able to like make a bunch of money and be profitable. We did have customers and everything, we still do. But the, now with my current company, totally bootstrapped, profitable from day one. It's like a relief every day. You're like, wow, this is great. So, really consider how can you actually make money, and ideally, be profitable or be at a point where, you can be default alive. And the other thing is location really matters. So what that means is basically, I'm from Ottawa, based in Ottawa. And honestly, Ottawa is not a great place to build a company, in my opinion. Toronto's great. I spent a lot of time in Silicon Valley. Silicon Valley is amazing. The location matters because you are surrounded by community, you're surrounded by people who have ideas, who have enthusiasm, energy. And if you don't see that, if you're not around that often, then you're going to lose some of that yourself, and you're just not going to think as big or really the same way. So those are kind of the most important things that I learned. And yeah, if there's anyone out there who has gone through this or is going through this, I'm happy to chat. I actually didn't put this on the slide, but I did take my blog post that I wrote and I published it just for like TechTO community. So it's like unlisted, but if you guys go to typescouts.com/story, you'll be able to read it if anyone's interested. That's it. Hello? Yeah. Okay, so you're asking me to pitch my company. Okay. Awesome. Yeah, it's pretty simple. It's a totally different business. Nothing to do with batteries. We are basically like a boutique recruiting service that works with North American-based clients to help them hire for remote roles outside of North America. So basically, we help you hire people that cost up to 80% less, but are really smart, really great, do everything the same way that folks do here. Simple.
If location matters, why do you stay in Ottawa?
So I'm actually, honestly, I'm probably gonna not be here next year because this company's remote. I spent 2 months in Mexico and really enjoyed my time doing that. But you have ties to family and everything, and it's just like really hard to leave that. But I actually had an opportunity, like when we went through YC, you know, there's like a big thing of like, do you stay in the Bay Area or do you come back? And we chose to come back. But looking back on it, I'm like, I should have stayed. Like, I feel like my life would have been different if I stayed.
Great presentation.
Thank you.
Your battery company. You talk about persistence, knowing when to keep pushing. Was there a point when you were working on that battery company that felt kind of pivotal? Maybe you considered a pivot, maybe you continued staying on that course. What was that, and what made you keep going?
You know, there was a lot of times when that happened. Oh God, what's like an interesting thing? One of the things that happened is we first built, so nobody in battery world, nobody believes you. And everybody says that you're full of crap. There's like a saying, liar, 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 battery supplier. So yeah, you know, when we, you know, right after when we're a really young company, you know, we're trying to license our technology to big companies. Nobody sort of wanted to do that. And so we just decided to build our own product, our own consumer electronics product. We, yeah, kickstarted it, and we kind of, you know, built it, spent a bunch of time in China, you know, doing the whole thing. And we integrated our technology into that product. But what happened was that took our company in a totally different direction of like making a physical consumer electronics product rather than building out core battery technology, which made batteries work better. And so we decided to actually kill that off after a number of years, even though it was making money and it was successful, because we're like, oh, this is, you know, we're doing something totally different than what we intended to do. And, you know, now we're like dealing with like warranty issues of this USB thing not breaking or whatever, rather than building out battery tech that makes batteries live longer and, you know, charge faster. And so we decided to completely kill that. And so we kind of pivoted back to the real thing that we intended to start in the beginning. So I don't know if that was like, yeah, like we pivoted away from the thing we started to do, and then we pivoted back to what we were doing in a way. But in 10 years, it's like you do a lot of stuff. We fired everybody a couple of times because we didn't have any money, you know, came back from that. It's like it's a whole thing. Yeah.
One last question.
I have a question.
Yeah, where is the question? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey.
So I'll give you an example. I'm an electrical engineer from Ryerson University, and then one of the things I have worked with energy sources. It's my startup. So I experiment with hydrogen as a source in India, and my team is working on it on stabilizing hydrogen. But my question for you is, you know, when fossil fuel burns, it burns clean, right? I mean, it emits CO2, right? Other than that, you know, it leaves nothing behind. Whereas with the battery, we are creating so much of waste. We are tapping into precious metals. We only have so much of it. And some of the precious metals come from Africa, where they are using child labor, in Congo, for example. And I can go on and on about why we should not have batteries. So can you defend why you wanted to go that route? Thank you.
So I would say I'm like way too dumb to answer that question properly, but I don't think there's getting away from batteries. You have one in your pocket right now, and so does everyone around you. And I don't think there's a solution outside of that until somebody invents one. So I don't know. If you have ideas on how you could change that, then I'm sure the world would love to see it.
Thanks, Tim, for being open about your journey. We like talking about success. We like having founders share knowledge, but not everything works out. So when someone can actually get up on stage and share some knowledge about when to not work on what you're working is, I think it's a valuable service, because we always hear about the grind, never what's past it. Before I introduce the next speaker, apparently I have to do a bunch of ads. If you like hearing stories in detail, we have two podcasts. One is Founder Journey, where we spend half an hour, 40 minutes talking with founders that have scaled, talking about their actual journey and everything in between, not just the glory parts. quick takes we do about once a month, and we try to break down the actual what we think's happening behind the news. It's great to see a merger. It's great to see a fund round being raised, but it's we try to break that down. If you like newsletters, good news, you're here today. You're going to be getting a TechTO newsletter tomorrow or Thursday, whenever we send the next one. And finally, if you want to come to more of our events, come to private events, you can scan that QR code to be a member. Now the team will let me get back to the show. Our next presenter is Jacqueline. Jacqueline, when I read your CV, it's like you're a woman of mystery. You've gone to university in Toronto, you've gone to university in Shanghai, you've worked for large companies, small companies, and then you went to EF and started Magnestar, which is like space/military company. So come up and share some knowledge.
Hi, everybody. Thank you so much. My name is Jacqueline Good. Very happy to be here today. I went to a TechTO event back in probably like 2017. So it's been really exciting to be asked to be here today because it's a little surreal going through being in the audience to being up on stage, and I'm really excited about that. Today, I'm going to be chatting a bit about frameworks that I use to make decisions and things that I felt were helpful to me as I was building a company, as I was thinking through pivots, as I was growing. These are the things that I've used. A little bit about why I'm here today as well and been asked to speak. We have, as Alex mentioned, we graduated from EF. We won several pitch competitions. We went down to TechCrunch out of 3,000 companies. We came top 6. Really, really exciting. Pitched to about 1,000 people that day. We were selected by the Canadian Space Agency as the top 10 space companies in Canada. I also represent Canada at the UN, at the International Telecommunications Union, working on radio frequency spectrum. Radio frequency spectrum, for those that don't know, this is the communication pathways, in my case, between Earth and space. All the satellites, 10,000 satellites in space, using different communication bands to transmit data between Earth and space. It's how Uber works, it's how Google Maps works, it's how your financial transactions work, it's how telecommunications work. All your backhaul cell phone reception is through space. And we represent and work with both from a military standpoint, as well as with space operators who provide those services to us here on Earth. When deciding what to do, this is something that when I was at the International Space University, one of the fellow space entrepreneurs provided this slide. And this was the slide when I was going through Entrepreneur First and building the company that I actually found to be the most useful and something that I go back to recurringly as a slide on my phone, just that I always have starred, because it's what do I want to do? What can I make a living doing? What can I do well? When you're thinking about building something or your next job or whatever that might be, what do you want to do? What can you make a living doing? And what can you do well? And there's different numbers here with associated actions, but some of them I really like because I find that, and probably got a lot of fellow entrepreneurs in the audience today, I get ideas all the time for things that I want to do or things that I want to build next. And it's really, really helpful for me to plot all of those ideas on a framework like this so I can actually decide what's worthwhile for me to pursue, what should I hand off to a friend, and what should I potentially talk about so that other people can build those things on my behalf, because I don't necessarily have the time to do it all, but I think that great things can come from those ideas. The second one that I'm going to share with you today is something that came to me about 2.5 years into building Magnestar. We came to a point where we had really strong footing with the military operators that we were working with, which is fantastic, but we were coming against some pain points with some of the commercial operators. Part of this is because in the space sector, some of you may have noticed if you're following space news, that a number of the space operators are consolidating. And so they're buying each other's companies, which makes me, an entrepreneur who sells into space operators, have a little bit more of a challenge, right? Because my customer base is decreasing. So what did we do? When determining next steps, I have found that it's very helpful to visualize, what do I have on my table? If I have a physical table and I'm thinking through next steps, what are the things that I have access to, or the people, the resources, what's great, what's physically on the table that I can pull on? And for any of those folks in the audience who are applying to jobs, who are navigating relationships, whatever it might be, what's physically on your table that you can work with and use towards your next? So we went through this process, and for us, I actually found that when we were going through this, we had this massive increase in creativity. We recognized that though the space operators that we were originally targeting as our market, we were having some resistance because they were cutting down on cash, going out of the businesses. What we did notice was that we had built out a reputation over the last 3 years of being experts in spectrum. And so we had this amazing reputation, and all of a sudden, when I kind of scaled back outreach, I had other folks that I didn't realize were my customers come to us for spectrum work. And that was really surprising. And what I realized was that we had built up a reputation for being the best. And so for those reasons, whenever anybody had a question about radio frequency spectrum, they would come to us. Fantastic. We had very strong relationships, and critically, we had runway. We had money in the bank that we could access, and that's one of the most important things is like, well, how much cash do I have? How much runway do I have? What can I work with? We also recognized we had very strong relationships, having gone through a number of accelerators. We had spectrum data, and we had data science as a skill set, machine learning as a skill set within our team, and we had spectrum models because we were consistently calibrating whether or not space assets would have interference issues. What we realized through going through this process was that actually the spectrum data that we had is what people were coming to us for over and over and over again. And all of a sudden I realized that though I was focused on one market previously, by going through this exercise and opening it up and recognizing the value of our spectrum data, we then opened our markets up to several different other areas and people that were coming to us because they recognized that we had the best spectrum data out there. And then that was something that I didn't really expect, and when we started it, to be so valuable. I thought it'd be a different area, but it ended up being the spectrum data. And now we're a data provider. And now we have access to so many different other markets because we're a data provider. So with that, those are two of the frameworks that I use when thinking through that we've used previously while building the company. Wanted to share those with everyone today, and thank you so much.
I'll ask the first one. We'll wait. How many different frameworks do you use to make decisions? Like, is just these two, or do you have like a set of 10?
I have several more of them. These were two that I figured we could share today in the allotted time, but absolutely no, I have several more than this that I use. But I find that it's just really helpful for structuring thinking. Like, I think that when you're kind of ambiguous about it, one of the ones I also used, this was like back when I was working rather than owning the company, I would start every single day with journaling, and I'd ask myself the same 5 questions every day. What do I want to accomplish today? What am I working towards? How am I working towards it? And what is the end goal? Like, what am I actually going towards? And I'd write 3 bullet points for all of those 5 questions every single day. And getting into that repetition really honed focus and make sure that I was on the right path. So I think that it's whatever you're actually going through in those times, there's different frameworks that you can use. These are the 2 that have been the most valuable for us when building the company, but there are several more out there that I'd be happy to chat about afterwards as well.
If you're asking a question, can you stand up so we can just see where you are at?
So it's a mixture of proprietary data that's ours from monitoring radio frequency spectrum being used between Earth and space. It's private data that we've purchased, and then it's public data that's readily available. And we've aggregated those 3 amongst other sources into our system, and then we run mathematical models on top of those data systems for prescribing specific outcomes for space operators, regulators, military. But now we're finding actually that the spectrum data is so valuable in itself because we've aggregated it. We make it really easy to use, make it searchable. Anybody can use that. And talking about selling to VCs, one of the things we notice is that now the venture community, whenever they're looking to invest in a space company, they want to use our systems to be able to search to make sure that space company actually has registered spectrum, that they have priority, because without it, they have nothing. Like, spectrum is the lifeblood of all communications, especially with space communications.
Why did you choose space? Was it the typical paradigm of difficult market, difficult problem versus easy problem, easy market?
That's really funny. I would say that honestly, most markets are hard. Whatever you're going to build, it's going to be hard. So to me, it's like pick your domain and run with it. But mine came out of like pure curiosity, pure passion. Like I want to see other planets in my lifetime. I want to go to the moon. I want to do all these amazing, like I want to go to space and working in space. It's so exciting. Like one of the things that, I don't know if I have time to share this, but one of the things I got to do last December as a part of the work with the UN is that we got to go to Dubai for a month and negotiate all the new treaties to be signed for radio regulations. And a part of that, we got to assess all how communication on the moon is going to work. And no one's ever done that before. Like, that's so exciting. And so I think it's like, for me, it's working on those things that haven't necessarily been solved before and figuring out new ways to do it. And that in space, it tends to attract really, really brilliant minds. And I love working with smart people. So there's a little bit about that.
Last question.
I was wondering, obviously, the space industry commercial has been exploding and the cost to orbit has fallen. How are you approaching that with respect to scaling up the company and maybe transitioning out of just purely being a data provider?
Oh, absolutely. I think that we fell into being a data provider more than purposely angled in that way. It's been more of a like a secondary market for us rather than the primary one we went after. In terms of one of the big reasons, to your point, with this cost of space, getting to space is going down so significantly. We saw that as actually one of the biggest reasons why we built this company, because we knew that we were going from 10,000 satellites in space today to over 100,000 satellites within the next 10 years. The number of satellite systems being in orbit will massively 10x, if not 20x. And all these space operators are using the same radio frequency spectrum. So we noticed that there were already about 15 companies focused on physical collision avoidance because there's going to be so many space assets, whereas there was nobody focused on signal collision avoidance. And so we recognized, this was 3 years ago, that how do we start building then? We could then be a leader come 3-5 years out. And that's what we've succeeded to do. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. That was all of the presentations have just been amazing. And I know everyone here is learning a lot, and myself included. Know nothing about space. That was very cool. So before we get into the fireside chat portion of the evening, we like to do something at our events. For those who haven't been here before, it's a meet your neighbor. So we had you share kind of a broader 10-second pitch before, but now we want you to, as long as you didn't come together, we're encouraging you to turn around, turn to the person next to you, ask them about themselves, and we'll give you a couple minutes to do that, and then I will be coming around and asking you to share things about your partner. So make sure you're asking good questions and you're actually learning about your partner, and that it's someone you didn't come here with. So we'll do that for the next 5 minutes or so, and then we'll do the fireside chat. Okay, everyone. I'm going to go around in a second and ask who you've met. Okay. If everyone can hear me, we're going to take our seats again, please, and thank you. Okay. If anyone can hear me and wants to volunteer themselves, I'm looking for a couple of pairings who want to share about what they've learned about each other. So who would like to go first? Anyone? Anyone want to share what you learned about your neighbor? If you don't raise your hand, I'm just going to go and pick people. I'm that kind of a teacher. Okay, anyone? Anyone over here want to share what they learned about their neighbor? If not, I'm just going to grab two people. I'm going to go for the two of you in the middle here because you made eye contact with me. Okay, first question. Did you guys come together? Okay, pass the first test. So I'll give you the mic first, sir, and then you just share what you learned about Haley, right?
You work at Vena, is that right? Yeah. So she does tech sales at Vena, and then you did the program with is it Palette? Yeah, Palette. So yeah, those are the two things we learned, and yeah, and you did a light show at some point that you found really fun in the distillery district. So yeah.
I didn't actually get your name.
Sorry. Yeah, a bit like hidden. Sorry, Allison.
But yeah, he did a pivot from finance and purchasing into doing DJ full time. Yeah.
I kind of picked on both of you, so yeah, you were good sports. Thank you. So if you could turn your attention to the stage, we have a fireside chat with Alex and Kobe. So Alex, I'll let you take it away.
Hey, Kobe, how are you doing?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Pretty good. I think last time I saw you on a stage was about almost a decade ago.
Just about, yeah, I guess, what, 2015 or 2016?
Yeah, about that. So, the team gave you a bunch of questions. I'm going to ignore them completely.
Perfect.
I want to take you back to actually pre-Tapalytics. Out of undergrad and then just, I think, after grad, you had two startups before Tapalytics. Can you explain a bit of both of them? And I think one was non-technology.
Yeah. So out of undergrad, or actually my last year of undergrad, a buddy of mine and I started, and actually I guess a buddy and a family friend of mine started a rental listing startup, trying to compete, I guess, at the time with Craigslist, and trying to do kind of like a user-generated content kind of play on it, but it didn't really go anywhere.
Yeah.
And then
go on.
And then when that didn't really go anywhere, I actually entered my family business, which is restaurants. My family owns Druxies, if you're from Toronto and know of it. And I actually spent a bunch of time opening new locations, and within that decided, or at least pitched my dad and uncles on creating my own concept, and we did a grilled cheese restaurant. So I opened that up.
So, well, grilled cheese. I guess let's get a round of applause for grilled cheese. Yes. I think that concept might still work. What do you learn from both those experiences?
Yeah, the very first tech startup we did, we definitely didn't know what we didn't know, but mainly had this weird, like, if you build it, they will come attitude. And we just kind of like figured if we build some software and put it out there, we'd get some users. And that did not happen. Didn't happen at all. And so we definitely, when we started Tapalytics, we kind of like took that to heart and in a weird way. And I think we swung the pendulum really very aggressively and didn't do actually just kind of completely discounted marketing and inbound and just did like very hard outbound sales. And then what I learned from the grilled cheese restaurant is that I very dislike working with family.
So did that one have a potential, but family issues came?
I mean, quick service is very tough. I mean, every business is tough. It is it's just physical. So where any business it has a mental stress, like any other physical labor, you are not only mentally stressed, but you get home just like exceedingly tired. So for a brief period of time between the Grilled Cheese restaurant and starting Taplytics, I was actually at Rotman for an MBA, and everyone was complaining about how much work it was and how tired they were. And I was like, this is a vacation. I love it. I was like spending much less time just like, yeah.
Yeah. And so tell me how you start Taplytics. Like, what was the idea, inspiration? How'd you meet the team?
Yeah. So team was me and one of the original founders in that first startup, and we had joined up with two other friends that we had known for a long time. We all went to high school together. Then me and the one buddy, Aaron, we lived together in university, and we hung out kind of all together in university, except for one of our co-founders who was much younger. Is the other two co-founders is their brothers. And so while I was running the grilled cheese restaurant, we would it was open late, and we wouldn't have a ton of customers super late. So what we would do is just kind of hang out and, bat around some ideas. And we decided to kind of join up. And at the time, we were pretty excited about like mobile apps. So we decided as a group to just try working together by just building like some mobile apps. So we built kind of like a version of Dropbox Photos early on, like very early on, and we also built kind of like a mobile game. And what it was just kind of really just trying to test working together. But two of the co-founders were more technical. Me and one of the other guys less technical. I can contribute a little bit, but it's ugly if I do. And so what we ended up doing was building some ways around kind of like at the time, the very draconian kind of like review process to be able to have the non-technical founders contribute to the mobile app, kind of like while it was in review process. And that gave us the idea of creating something kind of like similar to say CSS for mobile, where you could like modify the look and feel of the mobile app on the fly without having to push code. So it's like
And then you applied to YC, same class as Tim's, I think.
Yeah. We raised some money at the same time as applying to YC, got into YC. Yeah.
So I should have asked Tim this too. Was it worth it? Not? How did YC change your perspective?
Yeah, I enjoyed the experience thoroughly. Do I think I think I maybe have a different opinion than Tim on this? That I think you can get that drive from anywhere. You can get that experience just by going down there and immersing yourself. You don't have to like be there. Yeah, I enjoyed it, but they don't gift you any sort of ability to grow or become an amazing company. They just give you a model by which you can think through problems. And yeah, you can do that anywhere.
Okay, now so that's 10 years ago. So you've been Taplytics, or now it's called DevCycle.
Yep.
For a decade. I can ask a bunch of questions.
Yeah, go for it.
But let's I guess let's maybe take it in the first chunk. When you were known as Taplytics, it sounds like you went hardbound on sales. I think if I remember correctly, you also had a quick round coming out of that with Initialize, if I remember correctly.
Well, we had, so we did like a pretty massive or pretty big at the time, like friends and family kind of like seed round. And so we had raised from some people in Canada, like some big people, I guess some big like individuals with money in kind of like the finance space. And then at the time of YC, Tim will remember this, they were still allowing partners to invest, but only if you had raised enough money before coming into YC. So we had broken that threshold. So Initialize came in, but they came in as Alexis, Gary, and Aaron Harris. And then that eventually transitioned, but we also raised from Paul Buchheit and Justin Kahn and Kevin Hale and a bunch of others.
Okay, so you come out as a hot YC company.
Yeah, it felt pretty good.
What were the learnings in the first few years? You come out hot. What happened?
Yeah, I came out pretty hot, but had no revenue. We had some users. It actually took us, I think, a year to the day of ending YC to actually get our first real dollars. It was a slog. We did outbound sales, and we were doing. It turned into basically A/B testing, and A/B testing ended up being very much kind of like an enterprise play. So got our first dollars, but those first dollars it was like $100,000, like one single contract, which is pretty good.
$100,000 first contract's pretty good, but how did that become repeatable? Like, is enterprise? What do you have to learn about enterprise? So no, it didn't. But like, what can you teach the audience about enterprise sales?
Yeah, it was very, like, for us, it never felt repeatable, whether or not like it ever became, like, we never created, we struggled to create like a great I'd say process. But we were able to close some great deals. We were able to make some decent money. At the end of the day, the biggest thing for us was similar to fundraising for doing the first enterprise dollars, was just like trying to meet with everyone, trying to get like interviews, trying to understand as founders the problem sets. And yeah, the first people that signed contracts did it because it was like they believed in us. They believed in the relationship. I think that's still a big thing. Even today, it's like they're not like, people will give you a chance on big deals just because they want to work with you. Like, they don't want to, feel like it's a pain to work with the people that they're dealing with. So relationships are still a huge
So
thing.
relationships are important.
Yeah.
Sometime between then and now, you became a sustainable company. I imagine. So how'd you go from making one-off enterprise sales to becoming a company that actually is, I think, default live?
Yeah, I think the one thing that we did differently than, say, I keep referring back to Tim's because it's so relevant to us. But we early on, I guess, we're kind of more in like the persistent side, the default alive state, with the focus on being like sustainable. So we never really went for the fail fast motion. We always kind of, and I think at times we felt like maybe we made a mistake in that, but we're still here. So that, I guess, means that we did something right. But yeah.
Was there any key decisions or key pivotal points that changed the trajectory of the company?
Yeah, there are a few big ones, some that maybe I can touch on, others that I can't maybe go into in too much depth, but we did we made an interesting decision kind of in 2017 to go after a massive client that we won, and that definitely had ripple effects for the company.
Any other ones you can share, or is that the only one?
Well, I mean, that kind of like is a huge, like, kind of trails onto the rest of this, I guess.
Okay, and then you're going well, but it's not like you're not the exponentially growing unicorn. How did that impact the stakeholders around you, the employees you had, investors, and how did you manage that?
Yeah, we had like some really chill investors. So they were never, and we always retained control. So we never got like a ton of pushback. We always kind of were able to do what we wanted to do. The investors we had on the board would ask questions, but they wouldn't force us into things that were maybe they didn't understand, or that were maybe suboptimal. So that was kind of great. And employees, I think, because whenever you're showing growth, even if it's not rocket ship growth, I think as long as you're fair to them, as long as you're open and honest and transparent, you can still always drive kind of a belief in the company.
Okay, and then Tapalytics is going well. Now you've got a company called DevCycle. What's the relationship between the two of them? How did this happen?
So DevCycle is a pivot from Tapalytics. So DevCycle is, I guess, basically in a certain degree, Tapalytics 2.0. And kind of going back, it kind of starts with that large contract that you're saying. What are the pivotal moments, or like the big moments? That kind of is the crux to, I guess, the original part of, even though it was like our most massive Tapalytics customer, it was kind of like the start of pivoting to DevCycle.
So tell us what the difference between Tapalytics and DevCycle is.
Yeah, so Taplytics was focused primarily on visual A/B testing. It started off in that idea of changing anything on the fly in a mobile app, kind of turned into via our customers visual A/B testing, and then Taplytics grew to be multi-platform A/B testing, feature flagging, and push notifications. And DevCycle is a much more focused product. Taplytics was focused on, say, the marketing and product side. DevCycle is focused on feature flagging and the developer.
So for people that don't know what feature flagging is, what is feature flagging?
It's just simply an ability to separate a feature release or a deploy of code to production from an actual release of features. So yeah, just think about any app you use. If they deliver a new feature, it's this idea that they can wrap it in a conditional, gradually roll it out to their users, test it in production. If there are any issues, being able to roll it back.
So why focus? What is the benefit of focusing at this point? You scaled up a bit, and it sounds like this is a much more focused product.
Yeah, I think in terms like the benefit is just you're able to apply on as a small team, and unless you are a public company, you'll always be resource constrained on people, so you can apply a lot more pressure in a smaller area than if you're broader, like Taplytics. Because of how broad we were, we'd have like single customers using different parts of the product, and that's like becomes hard to maintain.
So prioritization is easier is what I'm hearing.
Yeah, definitely.
And has this changed your growth or your approach to the business?
I don't know if it's changed. Well, so it's hard to say yet if it's changed growth because we are only a couple of years in, and it's essentially, even though it's a pivot, it's like starting all over again. Nothing, can't take anything for granted, even though we try to cannibalize or like take the customers from Taplytics and convert them into DevCycle. It's basically a brand new sale. So that'll be interesting to see. But at the end of the day, it does make a lot of things a lot more like easy.
Well, feature flags and experimentation are becoming more common. Like when I talk to most startups, they're talking about how to roll out a new feature, check if it works out. If it does, it'll go to a much higher percentage. How do you differentiate yourself from competitors?
Yeah, so I think that in and of itself is part of the why we did DevCycle. We think like a big part of the market is kind of stuck on the A/B testing side. There was Optimizely that we were competing with on the visual A/B testing. They kind of got capped out, and they've kind of since come down. LaunchDarkly was kind of the incumbent on the feature flagging side, but as some new startups are coming up in the A/B testing side, everyone's kind of starting to continuing to focus on that area. But we kind of think that there's maybe an upside cap there. So there's a big focus on A/B testing, and there's an issue that we feel there is that exists where there's kind of a difference between the dream that A/B tests companies sell and the reality. So companies sell the idea of no code A/B testing. You don't have to use any engineers to get impact on your tests. And at the end of the day, if your engineers aren't involved, you're probably only changing, color or text, and that doesn't actually get you anywhere. So the way we differentiate is we're actually trying to, like what we saw with Taplytics was the people who used us deeply in code and their engineers were bought in were the stickiest. So that's our focus. We're focused on making great tools for developers, being deep into their workflow and trying to be sticky there.
And who your end customer, you sell to, has that changed? Was it before an enterprise sale, like CTO now to someone in the dev team?
Well, actually before with Taplytics, it was enterprise sale, but the buyer was probably either in product or analytics or marketing. Now it's the end user is a developer, the primary one, and the buyer is probably in engineering management. So could be a team lead, could be a VP of engineering, could be CTO.
Make the sales easier or harder?
Way easier.
Faster sales cycle?
Definitely. And we target a smaller company.
Interesting. And how's this impacted how you lead the company?
Wait, lead the company?
Yeah, like what lessons have you learned over the years? You've changed your customer. Sounds like a different sales cycle. What?
I don't know how. Yeah. Well, I think at the end of the day, the biggest change of how we lead the company is has been that idea of focus. We try to not do things that will spread our focus. We try to be kind of ruthless in that as much as possible, where I think before we definitely were open to a lot more shiny objects, let's say. Now, if a customer isn't the right customer within the ICP, I think Jason may have been talking about that idea of a customer that came in that was the wrong customer and churned right away. We don't want that. We want to avoid that as much as possible. And so, yeah, we will say no to people and tell them outright that you're not right for us, and that's very different.
What does success look like for you? What type what type of time horizon are you working on?
Yeah, that's an interesting question. I think for us at this point, yeah, you've gone at it for 10 years. Maybe an IPO is still possible. Maybe a great exit is still possible. But I think for us, at least the co-founding group, the way we talk about it, success is really building something impactful. Something that customers love, that they keep coming back to, they rely on, and ideally can have at least some level of scale to impact a larger number of clients.
And for people in the audience, how do you give them advice on to focus on what they're building? Because I think a lot of coming out of YC, a lot of what you hear in the news is about the hot company, about the thing that's scaling so quickly. And what you're showing here is really no company gets built that's sustainable, that it takes years of decades. So how do you block that noise out?
I mean, it's tough. We get asked, we don't touch AI. We did with Tablytics. We did a little bit of we're going to touch it, use LLMs to allow you to, generate ideas for A/B tests. We did that. No one used it because it's not a good feature. And then because that LLMs are so necessary, LaunchDarkly did that 2 years after we did it. It was just I'm sure no one's using that. So at the end of the day, I don't know, it's hard to ignore it because VCs will push you there and the market will push you there. But you got to have at least the conviction to build a good product. And if it doesn't make sense yet, wait and figure out the use case and build the thing that actually makes sense for your customers. And I see a path. We don't have AI yet, but I'm starting to see a path with Cursor and some things that are happening where we could fit it in, but I don't yet even see us building it in. We'd probably more so integrate with a Cursor or a GitHub.
Well, I'll just open up my next question. With the way coding's supposedly changing, how's it changed how you view rolling out features and products? Do you believe we'll have an AI, we'll get rid of humans from coding, or will it vastly reduce the number of humans in coding?
I mean, yeah, I'm not smart enough for that one. But yeah, I believe it seems like we'll not get rid of it, get rid of humans, because I was listening to a great podcast the other day that was talking about someone, I think it was New York Times Hard Fork, and they were talking about how a journalist followed everything that AI told her to do for 2 weeks. And she felt exceedingly boring after the 2 weeks because AI brought her towards the mean of every decision. And so, yeah, if you're just learning to code or you're super early on or you don't know this one language, I think it can bring you up to the mean really fast. But if you want to be great, I'm not positive, at least AI in the way it's designed today, where it's just a probabilistic engine, is going to make great code. So you still need the creativity to go beyond what's being seen. So yeah, I still think that there's going to be engineers. And the one thing that I think AI does for my business of AI coding becomes more prevalent is it becomes way more valuable to have a switch to be able to turn off bad code.
I'm going to ask one last question before I open to our audience. What's the one piece of advice you were given when you started Tapalytics? Or one thing you knew?
Yeah, one of the earliest things that I really appreciated when I started Tapalytics was advice around talking to a lot of other founders, and that was something that I did, like, that I really enjoyed out of NYC, that I think you can replicate anywhere. What I ended up doing was, like, every week I'd go into San Francisco from the Bay Area at the earliest point of YC, and just have a I had a meeting that I had, but I'd also schedule a coffee chat with another YC alumni, and just there wasn't, like, I never did any business with those people, but it was just such an interesting experience, just like talk to other founders in a capacity that was different than like the YC batch. And I just found those conversations to be amazing. That was like a really good piece of advice someone gave, just like use the and it doesn't have to be YC, it's any opportunity that you have to like just expand your footprint.
Interesting. Can I get a round of applause for Kobe? We'll open it up to the audience now. Anyone have a question?
Raise your hand nice and high. We'll come find you. Questions?
Any?
Hi, Kobe. You did excellent. I had a question. You had mentioned that you weren't very technical. Being a founder of a company now that relies heavily on a lot of software and engineers, how did you find kind of maneuvering into that space when you felt like you weren't technical? And did you rely heavily on your co-founders? And like, how do you maneuver those knowledge gaps?
So yeah, the major thing for me is I've changed my role significantly over the 10 years. So it's just finding ways to contribute in important ways early on. So, and as you go, so I started off, I was the first salesperson for the company. And then once we had, I guess, our first million in ARR, I handed that off to my other co-founder. And then I transitioned into customer success, technical support, did that for a bit, then did kind of like ended up managing that one massive client directly in person. And then from there transitioned into product, spent some time managing our engineering team. So it's just like, one is just doing whatever needs to be done in the moment. But two, that you need to spend the time kind of learning the things that are important to support that. So like, yeah, I didn't know much, but I taught myself SQL to be able to be doing support, taught myself enough to be able to understand what I see when I look at code, to be able to help where I need to. Yeah, now AI is kind of nice because, yeah, you can actually do some things and learn a bit more, a bit faster, but yeah, you just kind of like need to fill the gaps, and there's a lot of tools to be able to learn how to do that. But at the earliest stages, you should just be pushing on the things that you have skills on and bring value. And the value is, if you're not technical, is how do you sell?
Questions? Any more? Okay.
Thank you. So when did you decide that you were ready to go to YC? And did you have a product already, or it was just a business idea?
We applied, or not we, I applied to YC 4 times, got in the 4th time. The first 2 times I applied with different, like 2 completely different ideas that were just ideas, didn't get in. And then 3rd time, we applied at the idea stage of Taplytics and didn't get in. And the 4th time we applied, we had like a demo and maybe a few beta customers, but we were kind of like, yeah, mid-raise at the same time. So I don't know, it's hard to say. Like, the interesting thing that I feel like is like we got, like, for us, we kind of got into YC when it felt like we were going to be able to do something regardless. Like, we were going to be able, like, because we were successfully raising. So it was kind of an interesting one for us.
Anyone else? We can maybe take a couple more.
Hi, thanks. So how much, if it's not confidential, how much did you raise and how much did you have to give your company away, equity?
Yeah. So we did essentially 2 raises. Like we did a pre-YC thing, then through YC and after. That was kind of like all bundled into one. And then we did an A, and I think in total it's like 7 million across all of that. And we gave away just under half.
Maybe one more question. I think I saw. Perfect.
Hi, Kobe. Great inspiring lessons. So my question is, what has been your greatest lesson in building product? Other than product should make sense, and what is available public out there?
What's the greatest
What is
lesson in
your
product?
biggest lesson about building product other than product should make sense?
Make a product that works at the core, and it'll make your life way easier. If the core has bugs, even though you read in like everything like move fast and break things, if the core breaks, even if you can fix it fast, that's going to be killer. The things that can break have to be at the fringes. And if it's not at the fringes that aren't the core value driver, then yeah, it's going to suck for a lot of reasons. Yeah.
On that note, can we get a round of applause?
All right. Thank you. And thank you everyone for your questions and for sharing those for Kobe. I have a couple quick things I need to run through because I want to make sure there's time at the end to network. And of course, I promised an after party and I don't break my promises. So I will tell you where that is. So we have a retail event tomorrow, e-commerce sales, tech retail focus. We've got also a full like in-person marketplace that's happening, which is super cool. You can come and like actually test a lot of the products. And again, like great lineup of speakers, and that's at 1:11. So tickets are on our website, our new website, if you want to go check that out. Alex briefly mentioned the membership program. If you're an insider, we have a ton of members only events that we offer for the community. And we have a like friends and insiders kind of insider social happening on November 25th. And that's at Joey's new location. So if you're curious and want to know what the insiders program is like, talk to one of your friends who might be an insider and they can bring you, or check out the program. And then if you become an insider, you can attend. And then lastly, wow, looking ahead to the new year, I know that should say 2025, but January 13th, we have our first Together event, and we're doing a bunch of them at Mars next year. So we're very excited. So new venue, very exciting. All of that available on our website, as mentioned. I would just like to give a huge round of applause. I say normally in a Tech TO t-shirt, but everyone's wearing a black t-shirt today because we don't have our new shirts yet, but round of applause for our volunteers, please. Anyone with like a name tag on, thank you guys so much. We really could not do this without you, and your support is much appreciated. I got to talk to a ton of people before the event about why they're here and just, you know, their inspiration and what they're working on. And there are so many talented, inspiring people that I get to meet. And I know our community, especially our greater community, would love to hear from you. So if you are interested in sharing your stories and you would like to potentially speak at a Tech TO, please reach out to Phoenix. We would love to meet you, learn more about you, and so would the community. So we encourage you to reach out if you'd like to share. The after party, as promised. So it will be at the Maddie. If you've been to events here before, that's usually where they are. 8-minute walk from Rotman, so very close. And the weather's actually pretty nice for November. So hope to see you all there. We have to be out of the space by 9. You've got about 30 minutes that you can network, but you can keep it going at the after party. So just thank you everyone for coming, and I look forward to talking to you shortly. Thank you.
When I see your face, there's not a thing that I would change, 'cause you're amazing, just the way you are. And when you smile, whole world stops and stares for a while. 'Cause girl, you're amazing, just the way you are. Yeah.
I've been trying to do it right. I've been living a lonely life. I've been sleeping here instead. I've been sleeping in my bed. Sleeping in my bed. So